What's going on? This is Marcus with Living Fit, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite exercises. And I know I say this about so many exercises. Every exercise, feel like my children, but you know which one's your favorite. Just kidding, Jack. All right, so we're going to talk about the Deadstop swing. And I like the Deadstop swing because, number one, it's a great way to practice the movement. It's also a great way to intensify the movement. So even though it's a regression in that it's going to be simpler, because now we're not going to have the repetitive nature where we can potentially accumulate a lot of bad reps. We can stop our client before they get to that point, but it's also an intensifier because it's going to make a lighter bell feel heavy. There's no extra momentum going. I don't have gravity working with me. I'm stopping that momentum every single time. And then I'll show you different ways that I like to intensify it even more and how you can use this. There is a fly that I'm going to murder. It is going back and forth. Every time it comes close. Okay, so let's start with what the movement is. So from this position right here, number one, just making sure I'm far enough away that I have enough of a clearance to be able to hike the bell back. Bell is tilted back, lats are engaged, shoulders down. I'm loading most of my weight on my midfoot and my heel. So even though my toes can wiggle, I also want to keep them pretty grounded right now. So from here, I'm going to keep that tension. I'm going to take a breath in, back down. Okay, so that's if I want to make it picture perfect rep every single time, keeping that tension. So whether you use Valsalva maneuver, a lot of tension, I want to make sure there's enough intra-abdominal tension that I don't excessively load the backside. So let's do a few more reps here. So I'm just going about chest height here, touching the ground, stopping the momentum, and then back down. So this is a great way to reinforce that landing between every rep, because a lot of times you'll see your client do a bunch of swings, and then you're like, time, and they go, whoo, good set, man. That was a good set. No, we want to avoid that. So we make sure that rep from start to finish looks fantastic. This isn't grass-fed, this is grass-finished. We want it to be perfect. All right, so from here, here's a couple different ways that I like to do this. We can make it more conditioning focused, or we can make it more power output focused, as if like you were doing weightlifting, like using a bar. So let's say I'm gonna use something light, real light. So now, the focus is on my work capacity, my endurance. I wanna go as fast as I can. So even though I'm hitting the ground and I'm stopping that momentum, I'm coming right back up. So I'm not gonna let it stop there for very long. Hike, I can let that bell float. I can pull it down, but I'm touching every single time, and I don't let it sit there for more than a nanosecond. I don't know what less than a nanosecond is, so. Oh man, even lightweight, that sucks. Insert whatever you like. It doesn't feel good. And because we're adding that extra little kind of reach where I'm coming down to the ground all the way. So if I'm swinging, I'm primarily standing at a pretty high hinge, so I'm focusing more hamstrings, glutes. But if I'm coming back down to the knee, or I'm coming back down to the ground, I'm gonna get a little bit more knee flexion, so now I'm getting some more quads in there. Oh, it burns. So from a conditioning standpoint, let's say I want to do some intervals, do some, like I said, some endurance, work capacity stuff. I might alternate this with something more anteriorly loaded, so more front line loaded, whether it's some variation of leg raises, planks, L-sits, combined with these swings in that kind of fast work capacity fashion. So let's say that you're just feeling like an absolute banana and you want to go up in weight. So now, for the sake of video, this is still not my heaviest bell, but it's a 56K or 50, I don't know what it is, 123 pounds or 48 stone, I don't know stones. So anyway, it's a very heavy bell. So now I'm going to treat this like I would with my setup, with my kind of execution as I would with a barbell if I was doing, let's say, power cleans or something very explosive with a 1 rep max. So in this case, same alignment, but now what I'm going to do is I'll either keep my arms straight, but I'll most likely bend the elbows and bring it up more vertically. From here, I can keep my feet planted, or I can come up into triple extension where I'm getting ankles, knees, and hips all at their extended position. So now, focusing on my breath, now I do want to exert a lot more tension through my core. If I'm just going to do swings, that's only 3 reps, but it was challenging because I'm putting as much tension and output into that as possible. So I can go even crazier, go heavier with that, and then stop between each rep. So take your hands off the weight, set up, shake it out for about 10-15 seconds, and come right back into it, almost like a cluster. So you want to make sure your cameraman understands where they are in relation to the gym so they don't almost trip on something. So good job, bro. But that's okay, next time. Anyway, so that's how I can incorporate that for more power output. So I can take a different weight but the same exercise, make it more challenging for overall output. So for my athletes that I maybe don't want to put a bar in their hands, or for myself, if I want to get explosive, that's what really attracted me to the kettlebell, was being able to do a lot of explosive kind of weightlifting style lifts without the technique of the barbell. So not discounting the barbell, just not my cup of tea. I prefer the kettlebell. So if there's a client of yours that maybe the barbell is just not as accessible, kettlebell will definitely be easier. So that's the dead stop swing. From there, we can even go into alternating variations of that. We'll go back to light because I'm not that big of a banana. So from here, we can work on the timing. Where now I'm adding that switch. I can add the switch down here. I can add in a staggered dead start swing. So now this is going to be challenging my stance, challenging my hips, challenging my core as I add in some rotation. Lots of ways to swing a bell, lots of ways to skin a cat here that make it just very fun and engaging and challenging. So that was a little bit more in depth of the dead stop swing. I just, like I said, I love showing what's possible with the kettlebell just because these stupid things inspire me so much. Like I can do so many different things with them. I love them. It's not the only thing I've got. I've got dumbbells, I've got bars, I've got racks, I've got other tools. But the simplicity, while also the complexity of the kettlebell is so incredible for me. I love everything about it. So hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know. Lots more of these types of little videos if you like them. If you don't, I don't know, at least a few more. We'll see how they go. But for lots more information, make sure to check out living.fit.